Welcome to Jenkins Boat Works. I am Chuck Jenkins. I wasn't going to do a video about shaping and sanding the tiller and the rudder, but I figure some of you may find it interesting. We're glad you're here. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, leave your comments, and consider subscribing to the channel. All right, let's do some more boat work. I'm not really planning on spending a lot of time talking about how I'm going to do this tiller. But we'd cut off the end there at a 45-degree angle so that it can lay down against the curve on the rudder. And we're going to be a full 1.5 inches this way at the back end. And then I just took over to the bandsaw and just slowly narrowed it until we got all the way up to here. And now we should be 3/4 of an inch square. And I kind of got, I sawed this out here to where it's got just a little bit of something there. So you got your hand on there, you kind of feel something. And I know that the normal rudders are just square up here because then they drill a hole through here and put the tiller extension on. But I've actually got a different idea about a tiller extension too. I don't really like the ones that just swivel on a pivot here. I like to be able to feel the tiller and the rudder against the water, and I think you lose some of that with an extension like that. So we're going to try it without any extension to start with. If I find I need one, I may take a couple of straps of leather on here and then run another thinner piece through here that I could extend out if I want. Because the other thing I don't like is when you've got an extension on there and then it's out here all over the place flopping around. If I don't want it, I want it secured back up against this. So we got a little bit of tear out right there. I'm going to have to be cool with that. Now that's part of what I'm doing right now is I'm using a plane and I'm just kind of taking some of the edges off of here. So I'm kind of paying attention to which way the grains run. So far I've only done it on the bottom here. But we will just kind of round some of this off too. Boy, I really don't like that. That's really deep into there. Man, I may be getting a whole different piece of wood. We'll see. I may be able to round that off a little bit, save it. I don't know. Dang, that's a pretty nice piece of oak too. Except for that. That's a pretty deep check. I didn't realize it was cracked all the way up in there like that. Oh dear. We might be able to plane off what we want coming this way and then maybe stick some epoxy in there, glue that down a little bit. Maybe a way to fix that. I came against that little check and planed it out of there. Well, that's already looking better. We're going to kind of get that to where we get our hand around it and feel it. I think we got enough of the corners knocked off of there we can start sanding on it. I was able to get all that tear out piece out of there. That's awesome. We'll leave it pretty square back here because I'm not going to have my hand back there. I don't care. Okay, and so now on here, this is obviously our rudder. And this is the forward edge, the after edge, bottom. Up here, I don't really care. We're just going to kind of sand that and round that off. But on the edges, class rules allow for us to have a 1.25 inch taper. So from here down in, you can bevel that. So I'm going to start about here, and I'm just going to try to draw a line. It gets tricky down here in this curve. Okay, same thing back here. This way. All right, I don't expect you can see that. I can barely see it, but we've got our lines here to where now I know that's okay. Now the other thing is I want to come in here to where it comes up, you know, bevels into a point somewhere near the middle of this. So this should be about 3/4 inch. Now I did run this through the planer a little bit ago, the thickness planer, and I think we went from being exactly 3/4 of an inch. Well, right there, it's still 3/4. Just right on it. So, there it is. Yeah, it's only off a 32nd. And a 32nd there. If I use 3/4, half of 3/4 is 3/8. So let's just move this dude over to 3/8. Like that, and then I should be able to do the same thing I was doing on the other deal and just draw this down here and have the middle of this so I know roughly how I'm going to do that. And it's kind of tricky where it curves, obviously. Okay, so we'll get up here. We want a pretty decent edge though. Again though, you can see what I'm doing. I'm coming right in the middle of here. So we're going to plane from here in toward the middle. Same thing on this side, just to give ourselves a beveled edge that'll slice through the water easier. Taking off a lot in a hurry. I like it. Yeah, I like it. And we're not going to come all the way down to that middle line, but it kind of gives us a reference point so that we know, you know, should we take off a little more off this side, that side? There's one point here where it's a little bit high on this side. We may take off just a hair off of there. And I almost took off too much. We may do the rest of that with the sander. Yeah, looks pretty good. I set this blade back on this plane just a little bit. It was really sticking out. And you can see how big of chunks I was getting out of there. Now we're kind of able to smooth this thing. It's going to make for easier sanding later. If you want a full-size drawing of this rudder, leave me a comment down below and we'll get you a copy. I'm well aware that sanding is the most boring thing ever, but there is a lot of it in boat building. And this mahogany, oh, what a pleasure. I want to show you something. We've got, okay, like here's a couple of little marks right here from the plane. You can probably see those. All right? Watch this. I'm using 80 grit. There's our same spot. Can't hardly tell. I haven't done this side yet. Literally only been sanding this no more than 5 minutes. Oh my gosh, I definitely don't want to take the power sander to it unless it's when I get down to my much higher grits, like 220 or something. Even then, I think I'm just going to sand it by hand. I do need to round off this little bit right here, otherwise it's just going to get chipped and broken off of there. The plan actually shows that rounded off a little bit too. That won't be a big deal. Wow, this is cool. This is fun. I can still barely see my line here. It's gone there. That tells me I just got right up to that line when I was doing my work with the plane. I don't want that to be a hard edge though. I want that to just be a nice, smoothed over transition. And even on this edge, I'm going to come right on that edge and sand down there to get this rounded over. See, even there, we can still see my little dotted line that was in the middle of that. And see, I need to do some sanding down here because we're uneven on this edge. See how it kind of bows out there? But boy, we're getting there in a hurry. I kind of put this off because I was like, this ain't going to be that much fun. It's never fun sanding. This is actually great. I'm really enjoying it. This oak will not be quite so fun, but it's a beautiful piece of wood. I have an oak tiller in the haven over here. Actually a piece of wood that came out of a tree that we cut down. It's a very nice tiller. You gotta be cool when you're doing this. You can take off a lot in a hurry. Man, we're just about there. I think as far as roughing it out, we're good. Take some finer sandpaper to it later, but that's nice. I like it. All right, that is it for tonight. Vacuum this up. If you like the video, remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.